Well, when it comes to weather, you'd be hard-pressed to find a nicer week than the one we just enjoyed. Pretty blue skies, lots of sunshine, very mild, but that's not going to last for a whole lot longer. Don Wade is here from Country Boyz Heating and Cooling to tell me about something nasty that's going on in your house that could contribute to those allergies we were just talking about in the previous segment. Hey,
absolutely. Don. Good to see you today. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide to you as well, sir.
Can't wait for football season, can you?
Well, we're about 100 days away now, I think.
It's getting closer. I can feel it. I can feel it in my bones.
And we want to make sure that we're good and healthy and able to enjoy that. So something we want to be on the lookout for in our home is just really gross.
Well, it is, and it's one of those kind of silent kind of killers for a lot of people. We were just talking about asthma and stuff, and you know, what we want to talk about today is kind of how to prevent those items from happening, or at least try to reduce them. In Alabama, it's almost impossible to get rid of all the molds and mildews. But one of the things I want to talk about today that really nobody realizes contributes to the problem is your dryer. Believe it or not, you know, mold and mildew, one of the things that helps promote
your clothes dryer.
Your clothes dryer, exactly.
Wow, okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, not a problem. It's started with moisture. You know, our air conditioning system in the spring right now, we don't use it much at night. So we're not moving any of the air around. So what happens is we start to get stagnant air in the house. And whenever we're washing and drying clothes, your dryer, one of the big things is make sure that the lint trap is cleaned out. Because if it's not cleaned, or if the pipe going outside is not cleaned out, what winds up happening is it takes longer to dry, which hurts your energy bill. Right. But it has to go somewhere. Some of that moisture, instead of when you dry, it gets heated up, and that heat and the lint goes all outside. But if we don't keep that lint trap cleaned out, what winds up happening is we reintroduce that moisture back in the home. And like I say, moisture is our biggest killer right now. That's what feeds, you know, the mold bacteria and the spores and stuff like that. So, you know, want to encourage people. It's not a big deal to do. You know, make sure every time you wash your clothes, dry your clothes, pull the lint trap out, clean it. But you also want to make sure you look behind the dryer. It's one of those big red flags. You know, we never look at it. It's one of those deals. It's like, I don't want to see it. But if you see any kind of lint coming up behind your dryer, if you on the wall, which is a big deal, it's a red flag. You want to get in behind there, clean that thing out, and make sure that your ductwork is connected to your dryer properly. And like I said, it's one of those things that it's very difficult to do, because usually your dryer is this far from the wall.
Right, yeah.
And the pipe itself is this big, and you can't. You look at me, I can't get behind there. You know, not going to happen, and most folks can't either. But they do make flexible pipes and stuff. Some really good ones that you can buy at Home Depot and Lowe's that are like little snakes, and they pull out. You can connect them, and when you push the dryer back in, they won't come unconnected. And so spend a couple extra dollars on a really good dryer vent connection, okay, and it really will save a lot for you. The other thing is, we're talking about mold and mildew. Airflow, again, is key. What I recommend to people during this off time of year when it's cool at night, turn your fan on. Let your fan run. Let it circulate that air so that you don't have that stagnant situation going on. Make sure you change the filter, obviously, you know, in your house, because that's designed to catch a lot of that mold and mildew spores, especially if you're using the nicer filters. You know, let them work to your advantage. You know, blower running doesn't cost you hardly any electricity, but it can do a lot for you in the long run. And the next thing is crawl spaces this time of year. Nobody, same thing. They don't want to look behind that dryer. They don't want to look under their house.
Right.
But one of the things you want to do is open your crawl space door, see if you got any moisture being trapped under your house. That is probably one of the biggest deals, because that moisture is kind of creating that little, its own little, you know, horticultural area underneath it, and that moisture comes up through the floor of your house and does seep into the house, and that's another area that you want to try to work on. If you got moisture, you probably want to call a professional to come out and take a look at it, like the advertisers you had on here, Alabama Foundation Specialist.
Right.
Let them take a look at that and see why you have moisture in your crawl space. You want to get rid of that stuff.
Absolutely. Don, thanks so much for being with us today. Good stuff.
Thank you, sir.
You can find out more about heating and cooling your home by calling 205-230-6657. Don may even come over and help you pull your dryer out from the wall, or send an email to countryboyshvac@yahoo.com.